This guy
What,
is my dad.
Could be one of these boards?
Yeah, we only need 4, right? And these are,
Oh, you want to use one of these as the end board.
well, we have an extra one.
But doesn't it need to be like tall, kind of, like that one?
Not really.
When he was younger, he used to do things like this and hang out with people like this in France. And he looked like this. While in France, he loved to play this game called boule or pétanque. Then he met my mom. And they got married. And they had me. Fast forward about 10 years, and we're here, in this backyard in southwestern Colorado. On a global stage, the coronavirus rages across the globe. But for us, we basically have nothing to do. So what we've decided to use our time for is to build a boule court, that same game that Dad was so enamored with back when he traveled around France. But before we go any further, it's important you understand something about the game of boule. It is a game that originated in the south of France at the beginning of the 19th century. It is very common when you are in France to go into a small town and see a group of generally older men who look like this. They're usually in the town park playing boule, talking smack, drinking pastis, a licorice-flavored drink traditional in the south of France, and all around having a very convivial time. We tried to create the same atmosphere in our backyard.
Petit action de boule là. Excellent, ce rosé là.
But as we played, we realized that the surface of our backyard was just not adequate for the level of play and sophistication that we were looking for. There were too many logs, rocks, and tufts of grass, and the playing was just inconsistent. Balls were flying every which way. We knew that if we ever went back to France, we wouldn't be able to compete with those old codgers in that city park. And that's when we realized we needed to build a court. We measured and we visualized. The court would be 9 feet wide by 39 feet long. For the siding, we would use boards that my dad had found on the side of the road 3 years earlier. They were made of plastic, so they'd never rot. We began digging and learned what kind of creatures had been living only 3 inches below our feet. We had heated discussions about the ergonomics of digging.
We want to put a little more back into it, a little more legs, you know. Lift.
I'd say less back.
Left back, actually, yeah, less back, more legs.
The work was hard, but we knew the reward was going to make it all worth it.
Let's do 3, 4, 5 again.
Soon, progress was apparent, and we began putting up the siding. After 3 grueling days of work, which involved digging 24-foot deep holes for every single one of those posts, the sides were up. We were well on our way to having a court to rival any in southern France. We invited the family out for a celebratory game, but it was clear our skills hadn't quite caught up to our court.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
The next day, we went to the local gravel mine, which looked like the site of an environmental catastrophe, or the set of Mad Max. we learned about the complex science of gravel.
Pretty much all material.
And reject sand is
It's got dirt with the rock.
so dirt with rock.
Here we carefully planned and economized.
For a small truck. So that is reject sand, crusher fines, and
Finally, we decided on what we needed, and the next day, 4 tons of 3/4-inch gravel was dumped in our driveway. We raked all 4 tons out into our boule court. This 3/4-inch gravel was going to serve as a layer through which water could drain. On top of this gravel, we put a layer of weed barrier. And on top of that, we dumped 4 tons of reject sand as our playing surface. We chose this gravel because it was able to be compacted while also retaining some qualities for drainage. Finally, we wetted the court and used a roller to compact the surface. And voila! Just like that, 7 days later, my dad and I had built our own backyard boule court. All that was left to do was recreate that conviviality that we had seen in southern France. Although our court was finished, it was clear we still had a lot of practice to do. From here on out, this boule court was going to be able to provide us with hours of fun. And maybe one day, when this whole coronavirus thing is over, we could even have people over to play with us and drink some pastis.